So yeah, the covert narcissist, they turn then to finding their identity in corruption. They refuse to do what you do, what you will face, what you will confront, how you will work to grow your emotional intelligence, how you will face things, even if it's shame or fear, how you will try to pour yourself into positive, productive things, that basically everything you pour yourself into, you have in your intention and in your heart that it's all going to come back to your family. It's going to make you better for them. You feel by making yourself successful and continuing with your drive and focusing hard like that, that you are also loving your family more. You're loving your husband more. You're loving your children more by bettering yourself more. I feel that is the mentality that Shanann had, not this selfish, bogus bullshit that everybody else is out there trying to pawn off on her. These certain people, these certain bashers. I know what that feels like as a woman because I've been that woman and I'm still that person. That everything I do, get out of my way because I'm determined. I will succeed. I will get this done. I will focus on this. I will make this happen. I will be the best at what I want to be the best at. I will pour my heart and soul into things because in the long run, I'm always thinking of those I love and care about. I want to be a better mother. I want to be more connected to my own mother. I want to be a better example for people. I want to be better for my partner. I want to have that energy and happiness inside that I got from my own accomplishment, that I got by working through my own insecurities. And I will not stop. I will keep that drive because ultimately it is from an altruistic place, a genuine place, an authentic place of out of love for the people that I am close to. I want to be better for them, therefore bettering myself. And I do believe that is the genuine mindset that Shanann had. Not this, I'm so selfish, I don't care about anybody, it's just all about my products and fuck everybody else and scheming and I hate my husband and I just want to drag him around and emotionally abuse him. And the strong woman in this world is so highly misunderstood. I wrote something about this in my video. The video I called The Fashion of Shanann Watts, a tribute to her. I wrote something about the stigmas that are put on strong women in this world because people don't take time to see us. People don't take time to see our heart, to see what we're really working for, what our real intention is, how deeply we love our people. But we have to be something. We have to be strong for them. We have to be the example for them. We have to fulfill something in our soul or we can't love them worth a shit. How can we love somebody fully and be the best example for them if we are empty and lacking and wish we could succeed and wish I could be popular or wish that I could find fulfillment in speaking to others or making videos or selling products, wish I could find purpose and fulfillment. I wish I could accomplish something. I'm just lacking and resentful and envious. I'll just follow you around, Chris. I'll find my identity through that. What would you like me to do? Anything you want, honey, I'll do it. That's how Chris was, and I've been with dudes like that. I know what they are. And they fucking hate you for it too. They hate you for what they do to you. It's fucking crazy. And yes, it's true. I've lived it. I fucking lived it. I'm not kidding. But there's some perspective for you guys, okay? There's some perspective. It's just perspective. I didn't know her personally. I'm not saying 100% that I know for sure what exactly her personality was or what she and Chris did or what the hell went down. But what I'm trying to do is give you guys some perspective. Okay? Because I do have a lot of frame of reference and personal experience in relationships, relational dynamics, in my studies, my spiritual and emotional work, therapy over the last 25, going on probably 30 years. I've been working on things like this for a lot of my life and learning and growing in my own relationships and the different, working on different childhood issues within myself and my partner, and different best friends in the past. I've always attracted a lot of people that were broken, that came from traumatic childhoods, that suffered from addictions. It's all in my family. We all kind of therapy each other. Just a lot of stuff, and so it's just perspective. It is perspective that I want people to not necessarily look at the case or look at her and go, we know exactly, because we really don't. But before they bash and judge in a harsh or critical or horrible way, I just want people to be able to kind of look at it and think for a second. Oh, here's some perspective. Maybe she was coming from this place. Maybe she was coming from this place. Not just instantly, she was selfish, she was a bitch, she didn't care, blah, 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 blah. Okay, that's all I'm saying. It's just, it's ignorant to me to make an assumption just like that without even trying to have a more open perspective on it, because we don't know that. I don't know for 100%. I can't sit up here and say what kind of person she was, to the good or to the bad, 100%. None of us can. But that's where I'm trying to open the people up that are 100% bashing her and trying to tear her life apart and smear her name. You can't do that because you don't know that. Just some perspective, okay? Some things to open up people's minds about what some people actually live through. And some people are so unfairly misjudged. They have been nothing but good intentions in their heart, and they have been misjudged because they're strong, they're fierce, they're powerful, they're determined, and sometimes they are blunt. Sometimes they are like, get the hell out of my way. But it doesn't mean they don't love deeply. Okay? And it doesn't mean they are abusive and cruel to their family. And some women are so misjudged that way. The strong woman, again, I wrote some stuff about that in the other video, Fashion of Shanann, about the stigmas on strong women, how we have to be fierce sometimes. We have to be strong because there's a lot of deep love in our heart, and a lot of times it gets ravaged, used, taken advantage of, torn apart, misjudged. The strong women has hell in this world. I'm not kidding you. I am not kidding you. You wouldn't think that, but strong women catch hell all the time. They're hated, they're envied, they get rejected by men a lot because men are scared of them, because the man isn't facing his own inferiority and stuff like that, or they cheat on the strong woman because the man is so insecure and doesn't feel like he can live up to, and that came out of Chris's mouth all the time. Well, I felt like she was just so much smarter and so much better than me, and he was oozing with covert narcissism, oozing with inferiority complexes and insecurities, and just eating the fuck up as a man. She didn't deserve that. That didn't mean she was abusing him and she was a horrible person because he was failing to grow emotionally and he was stuck in some type of arrested development somewhere. They needed to communicate, man. Anyway, I'm getting off track. How the covert narcissist does go about finding their identity. After a while, they become infuriated with you when they find out you got their number. You're starting to pick up on it. It does take a long time because they can dupe you and fool you. That's a whole other video, how they bait and switch you and how they come into your life and you think they are one personality, but you find out later they're not. Anyway, when you start to pick up on it and you're just like, okay, I love them, I don't want to leave them, it really sends you into a psychological tailspin. It's hell to cope with. I don't want to leave them. I'm all emotionally invested now. I love them, but damn, this is crazy. They're not even what I thought they were. This is a nightmare. After you start picking up on it and some women will overlook it for a long time. They'll cope with it. They'll try to get through it. They'll work harder to get the man to love them and try to be able to reach that covert narcissist. And the more the covert narcissist, you pick up on the fact that this man that you love is a covert narcissist and he's actually resenting you and not appreciating all that you are. and you can't really reach him. There's something wrong there. The more you pick up on that, the harder you work. The harder you work. The more you want to be appreciated. The more you try to get him to love you. Try to be more beautiful, or dress better, or take him on more trips, or isn't this wonderful? Isn't this great? The more beautiful you decorate the house, the better you try to cook. I see it written all over her. I see this dynamic written all over their case from all that we know about it, and that's a lot. We're able to get in on their lives. We know a lot more than the average case. We know more about these people. I see it written all over them, this dynamic. That is the narcissist empath trap. The more an empath gives and works and tries to show appreciation, respect, boosting, encouragement, she did all that for that guy. She wanted to push him to his full potential and see him succeed and feel fulfilled as she did, as she was working on. But he was going somewhere else as a covert narcissist. And I've lived with it, and I know what they do. So, the covert narcissist, instead of finding himself like a normal person would, going to therapy or working on it or reading books or, getting into what his hobbies are, his passions, a covert narcissist will turn towards corruption to find themselves. Yep. They will go into escape, fantasy life, cheating, dating sites, pursuing other partners, drugs, alcohol, corruption. They will turn towards especially fantasizing, if not physically cheating, about someone else that's going to boost their ego and give them narcissistic supply. That is what the covert narcissist grabs onto another person to find their identity, to get their self-esteem back up again, because you've got their number at home. You're not having it. You're just like, whatever, dude. All right, cool. I'm going to do me. I'm going to just pour all the love into me. I love you. We got kids. I don't want to leave you. And I don't even know if they had this conversation, but I've been through it. I've been through that mentality, and I know the suffering. I don't know what they talked about, but I do feel like she was probably going through a lot of psychological hell at home behind closed doors. There was probably a lot going on. And you finally, get that way where you're like, I'm going to pour all that love and all these things that I'm doing to try to get you to love me. I'm just going to pour it all back into myself, because you get tired of being in the empath-narcissist trap. The more I do, the more he resents me. I can't get this man to see me. I can't get him to appreciate what a normal man would appreciate in a woman. And I'm working hard to please him in every angle, to touch his ego, to help him up, to help him grow, to show him this love. You cannot fill the hole of a covert narcissist. It is like a big black hole, full of lack that you can never fill, and they will blame you for it. But anyway, they will turn to, again, corruption, escape, cheating, fantasy, cruel, passive-aggressive things against you, sabotage, or whatever. And they just kind of go along robotically. They'll turn to all that on the outside of the relationship. That's their identity outside the relationship. Instead of a normal, healthy person having their identity, sense of self, outside of their children and their spouse, that's normal, healthy, and productive, that's the way the covert narcissist does it. They find their sense of self all the way outside of the relationship. Oh, yeah. They're real big on fantasy, living in their head. And it's very hurtful to you. Very betraying when you start to find out the layers that you are actually living with. And they can hide it for years. You start picking up on it slowly and slowly and slowly. And you damn right your attitude's going to change towards them. It's going to hurt you worse than anything you've ever fucking been through. It's going to tear your heart apart. And you're already emotionally invested. You may have been with them for years. You don't want to pick up and leave. Your heart is broken. You want them. You want to love them. You want to be able to connect to them. You want them to see you, hear you as a human, validate you as you try to do for them, but they won't. They can't. They never will. But yeah, the covert narc will just go on and do, that's what they do, miserable, seething, and brewing. They will not touch on what's really wrong with them. They will not face those emotions. They will not communicate this to you. They won't even give you a chance. And yes, blaming it all on you. So watch out. I'm telling you, watch out for these types. You need to know the red flags and the warning signs. And if you just don't, if you don't just cower down for them, never shine, praise them 24/7, beg them to talk, speak up, take charge, take them by the hand, exhaust yourself, basically like dealing with a little child, then you will be hated, resented, and you are controlling and abusive. I'm just giving you the mindset of the covert narcissist, toxic codependent. They operate a lot like a toxic codependent. They do not look like a traditional narcissist, okay? They do not look like the traditional grandiose narcissist or the malignant narcissist. The covert, vulnerable, sometimes called fragile narcissist. You're not going to expect it. You can't see them coming. They operate very differently. But yes, sadly, even if you love them very deeply and genuinely, you will start to lose respect when you're with a man like that. I've been through it myself. Even if you love them with all your heart and you're willing to go to therapy or willing to work on things or, fucking say, yeah, okay, I've made some mistakes, whatever. You can't reach them. It's impossible. And you will start to lose respect. And yes, that will be reflecting in your attitude and how you kind of get on with them. It will show. You won't want it. And it will hurt you the whole time. The whole fucking time that this is happening to you. You're like, what the fuck? It's agony inside, but you'll put on a strong front. And you'll pour yourself into your work. And you will try hard to be a great family. You'll try harder to cook great meals or do better at work, wear better clothes. Or I saw it written all over Shanann. She was suffering from the invalidation and gaslighting and lack of being able to connect with her husband on an emotionally mature level that she thought she was going to be able to. And I know what it feels like to suffer from that and go into fucking shock. You'll feel everything from anger, frustration, confusion. Your heart's torn apart. You love them. You don't want to leave, but you can't deal with the emotional immaturity on the person. I saw these things written all over her, man. I've lived through it. It's exhausting. So yeah, and that is what I think people are seeing on camera. This video is about the top things people try to bash Shanann for. I wanted to kind of name them off one by one. The job and the way she interacted with Chris. Her demeanor, her attitude. I think this is what we were seeing reflected sometimes. As to where some of that was stemming from. Yes, you do start losing respect for a man who acts this way. When you find out, it's very fucking painful and devastating that the very person you trust and love, that basically you've been baited and switched. You've been duped. You've been tricked. It's the ultimate betrayal. It's almost like he tricks you into falling in love with him. I'll get into that in another video too. How the covert narcissist comes in, they push, pressure, bend over backwards, put on a mask, put on an act. I'm all these things. Oh, I love you. I accept your life. I like you. I'm into anything you're into. They push so hard, even when you want to slow down. That's a red flag. They come in on you when you're weak and sick and fragile and oh God, that's a whole other video, okay? And when you find out, when you finally, as a strong woman, give your heart to this man, you fall deep. And I think she did too. I did. I was really reluctant at first. So was she. She had a right to be. She should have followed her instincts. I wish to God. Because at first she was trying to back him down. No, this is not the right time. That's what an emotionally healthy person does. A mature person does. But once you find out later on that you have given your heart to someone who isn't who they are, you start seeing these weird, peculiar, bizarre things slowly over time, and they're not, it's crazy. It gets so bad. You feel betrayed, like the ultimate betrayal. It's like waking up in some weird Lifetime movie or something. And I think a lot of that was going on way before the murders. Yes, I do. I think I can see it in her drive. She was trying to get that man to love her. She couldn't reach him on a certain level. And he was sitting there on his own that's what a covert narcissist does. They're on their own agenda. They're not really there for you. They are robotically going through the relationship with you, attached to an idea of getting narcissistic supply from you and looking and feeling a certain way. But then once they're not getting that anymore and you catch on to them and you're kind of just, fuck it, I'm going to be more about me. I'm going to put this love back into myself. I'm determined to make it no matter what. I love you, but I can't reach you. Oh, they hate you for that. And I feel it with everything I am. I do, because I've lived through it. It takes one to know one. A lot of that drive was about her, working on her and finding her identity and working through her own insecurities and wanting to be accomplished as a woman and wanting to be an example as a mother. But a lot of it, I think there was a lot of pain inside Shanann. And yes, she did put on a strong front, as we women tend to do. I've done it myself. I covered for abusive relationships. I've covered for alcoholic relationship, someone I loved so much. I covered as long as I could. Everything's perfect. Everything's wonderful. And I wanted to reach him so badly. I wanted to love him so much. And I just couldn't reach him. So I would work harder. I would work much harder. I would try to get him to see me, notice me, appreciate me, cook better, clean better, make a beautiful home, fold his clothes, encourage him, talk with him about things about life or about his own issues, listen, validate him, anything that I could. And yes, I would push harder to make myself better. I just couldn't reach him. And I fucking see that in Shanann. While everybody else, these bashers, are totally misinterpreting it. I personally think. Because you have to have gone through certain things and been in certain relationships and been trained in certain things and been around certain types of people to even see this shit. And I think even Shanann didn't pick up on his stuff for a long, long time. Right at the end, I think she was just barely, because you carry it inside for a long number of years. You cover for them. You try to protect them. And yes, you do try to make it seem like the perfect happy home. Because you're hurting. Don't you get it? So these people bashing her, that fake blah, blah, blah. She didn't care. That's selfish. She was the narcissist. She just cared about portraying the perfect little happy home on camera so she could just sell her products. What a faker. She didn't listen. You don't know that. And until you've lived through an abusive situation, psychologically abusive, or you've lived with a covert narcissist or any of that type of thing, you don't know the pain and suffering that some strong women carry. And yes, they will get up. And in order to cope with that pain, instead of turning into a sniveling little ball of victimhood, they will rise like the phoenix. That's right. I'm tired of the stigmas on strong women. Now, I'm not saying women don't abuse, because they do. I'll go into that in another video. My very first marriage at 17, I was raised in a very abusive home. I was beaten. I was abused on every level. I was very violent at 17, and I physically abused my first husband. I was very, very combative and violent, and I had to go to therapy, and I had to take responsibility for that shit. and I had to work through those issues. So it happens, yes. Men and women abuse. Men and women have different issues. Right now, I'm talking about strong women and this particular context. I do not feel like that woman was abusing her husband. And I feel like people are totally misreading her. And I am careful not to project my own pain, my own experience, and my own relationship onto her. I'm very aware of that. But I personally feel that some of these dynamics, very similar to what I experienced, were going on. That it's a high possibility. Therefore, I'm just putting out the perspective that I don't really think it was, I'm so selfish, I don't care, I just want my kids to get on camera, and this is all about thrive. No, it was all about her family. She was finding herself so she could be better for those girls and better for that husband that couldn't fucking appreciate her and couldn't see the fucking forest for the trees and couldn't get his head out of whatever the hell long enough. And she was suffering mentally and emotionally. That is how strong women cope. Nobody understands it. It's a rare person, really rare, that understands strong women, that isn't afraid of them, offended by them, that can see through to the love in their heart. Because we can be very fierce and blunt and outspoken, and we are also very tender and loving inside, and we care. We care so fucking much. And see, that's where the covert narcissist gets away with it. They fool everybody. And you bashers are just making it possible for another covert narcissist to get away with probably years of psychological abuse to his wife, emotional remoteness, putting her through all kinds of suffering where she felt unloved and she wanted to reach him. She kept falling more and more in love with him and boosting him to his full potential. I believe that. Hell yeah, she probably got pissed off at him every once in a while. If she was going through anything near what I was going through, I couldn't take it. And yes, there were times that I did reactionally abuse, but my partner went way overboard with the alcoholism and traumatizing me and putting me in terrible situations. I don't excuse abuse on any level, but reactional abuse is very different from abuse. Blatant, premeditated, outright, do it because you enjoy it or get off on it abuse. Reacting to someone and reactional abuse is something very different. And it happens and it hurts you really bad when you reactionally abuse. So that's why it is always best to get out of a toxic relationship. Anyone that provokes you to that level of emotionally abusing them or cussing them or talking down to them or they're getting on your fucking nerves, it's happened to me. It fucking happens. But there's always something they're doing behind that camera, behind the public eye that the public doesn't see. The public cannot pick up on psychological abuse. So, guys, let me go ahead and wrap this one up. It's already gone too long. I'm scared it's going to chop off, and I hate chopping up my videos like that. I do have a couple of more things to go over, but, basically I've gotten out a lot of what I wanted to say. I wanted to address the certain specific things that people hone in on and target Shanann Watts for. Her job, her career choice. I think they misread her a lot, and they also target her and, really kind of go to the negative and smear her name as far as her demeanor and how she interacted with her husband. Also her parenting, we've discussed that a little bit, the daycare thing, what she did with the girls. So I'm going to go ahead and wrap this one. I hope that I have provided some kind of insight and awareness for some of you guys out there. It really helps me to do this because I learn as I go. It reinforces things with me. I've been going through a lot of depression and anxiety lately. This project helps me a lot. I really appreciate all of my new subscribers. Thank you for being here with me. Thank you for all of your thoughtful feedback and comments. I think we can all learn and grow here. I really do. And all I'm out to do, I want to do something I can be proud of. I want to accomplish something. And I have a very creative side, so I really enjoy doing the videos. My life isn't perfect. I'm still struggling. I've been trying to rebuild my life after about 5 years of hell. I'll get into that in another video. But I'm never giving up, okay? And I just want to try to show some love and respect for this family and remember the beautiful things about these people and see if I can spread some awareness. Open up the public perspective. Because, you know, when it gets down to the end of the day, we all have a heart. We all have family members that we love and care about. And I think that we're here on this earth to learn more about love. I do. I think that we're here to constantly learn and grow